Hey guys, it is Carly bringing you day number 8 of my 31 days of horror, and today I'm going to be doing a movie that is arguably it is very loosely a Halloween movie, but I just happened to watch it last night and I was like, oh, there's actually some Halloween aspects to this. I don't know if it's set on Halloween Day or like October in general or what, but like there's very, very small Halloween aspects to it, so I figured, what the heck, I might as well just add it to my list of movies to review, and that movie is Texas Chainsaw from the year 2013. Basically, the Halloween aspects in this are that the kids are kind of planning, they want to buy costumes at one point, and then I think they're supposed to be going to a party, and then that plan changes based on the plot. And then there's a part in the town where there are some Halloween decorations and stuff in the windows, and you could tell like it's around October, that time where you're supposed to be out buying like jack-o'-lanterns and whatnot. But that's basically all the Halloween aspects, so I would just go right into the plot of this film. Basically, this is supposed to be a direct sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, the classic original film. Kind of skips over the other sequels and such, which most of these movies do in this franchise, so I can't complain too much about that because I don't really expect much. I know most of these movies are more like their own personal remakes rather than sequels, even though they market as sequels, but whatever, you know, it's not a huge deal with this franchise. I could let it slide because it's kind of all over the place. So basically, like, in this movie, it opens up with the beginning, or it has clips of the original movie, and then you see that it is the day after the massacres had occurred, and the Sawyer family is attacked by cops and some local people in the area because they are very angry about what happened. And then you see that a woman and her child are hiding out in the back. They have survived, and one of the people kind of kills the woman and steals the baby and then lets the baby grow up with him and his wife. And the story is just about that girl, the baby, being all grown up, and she finally learns about her family because her real grandma has passed away and left the Sawyer house to her. And of course this woman she's excited. She does want the house because her parents are kind of just total trash, really. So she's excited and she gets a group of her friends. They go out to the house, and that's when bad stuff starts to take place. Now, that's basically the plot. I have to say, this movie is really just like any other Texas Chainsaw movie. A bunch of people from age, like, I don't know, 20-something-year-olds, really. They are excited. They go on a trip to an area like Texas, and then they end up getting killed off by Leatherface. That is kind of how all the Texas Chainsaw movies go when you really think about it. Not a knock on the films. They're just kind of repetitive with just some basic plot changes and things like that. I still find them all enjoyable, but that's basically what you're getting with this film. Now, I know a lot of people's complaints are with the timeline being screwy because obviously this girl was only in her like early 20s, and that would not make sense if she was born in 1974. She would obviously be probably like 40 or so, I'd say. But for the sake of this film, this is supposed to, you know, capture the eyes of like teenagers and younger people, and if it was a bunch of 40-year-olds going to this house, it really wouldn't be the type of movie it is. It probably wouldn't capture much attention, so it does make sense why they changed the timeline. It is kind of annoying when you think about it, but I can let that pass. It's just a minor complaint, really, for me. It's not like detrimental to the plot, but I do like the opening scene, to go back to that, how they show clips from the original film and they try to connect that together. I do appreciate things like that. It's kind of cool just seeing like clips from this old film, and then they're trying to make it look like it's the very next day in 1974. Obviously, the family is a little different because, once again, that's how you make this plot work. In the first film, you have like the three brothers being Leatherface, the hitchhiker, and Drayton Sawyer. And then in this movie, you see like some other family members are like sitting around at the house. All of a sudden, like all these people just happen to be living there, or I don't know, they just come out of the trees or something and they're at the Sawyer house. And obviously that had to happen for the sake of the woman with the baby to even exist, so you had to add those family members. It's a little bit annoying, but once again, like, what are you gonna do? So I like how Bill Moseley plays the character of Drayton. I think he did a pretty good job. I do wish he could have had a bigger role in this movie because I love basically anything that man does. I think he's great at playing a crazy, nutty type of character, and I think he did it justice playing that character. Obviously, that actor had passed away long ago, about 10 years before this film was made, unfortunately, so they had to replace him with someone, and I think that was a solid replacement. But as far as the rest of the movie goes, like, you know, the characters are just basic, like, you know, 20-year-old characters. There's not really much to them. Like, you don't get all that much character development. It's just kind of like a, you know, like any other typical slasher movie with just characters you don't care too much about. The main girl, who is the cousin of Leatherface, she's okay. She kind of annoys me. I don't know what it is about her. I think it's just like the rebellious look to her and things like that. Just something that annoys me personally, but it's not a big deal. And then Leatherface, I like the way he looks in this movie. He looks very mean and like scary and just like big. Like in other movies, he kind of comes across as just this dumb idiot who like does whatever his family members tell him to do. But in this one, he just seems like this angry like killer. Like he's angry that his like, you know, grandma has died and he's like all alone. So you could tell like he's confused and just pissed off that these people are in his house and things like that. So I do like that about it. And also just like the look of his mask is pretty creepy, and the way he like puts it on is sickening. He actually sews it on. I think that's a pretty disturbing scene in this movie. I appreciate that. And then yeah, there's also like a part with like a carnival, and I feel like that was a pretty solid part. They didn't really use it too much. Like you don't see too much of this carnival. It's a very fast paced part, unfortunately. I wish they could have utilized that a little bit more because carnival settings are pretty cool. And yeah, not too much more to say about this one. Towards the ending, like, you know, the ending is where like I really have the most problems. First of all, it has like one of the cringiest lines in the world. I'm not going to say it because I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of seeing it written out, and every time I think about it, I just want to puke. But you know what I'm talking about if you watch this movie. If you've never seen it before, go ahead and watch it, and you'll figure out what I'm talking about. It's just bad. And then just the whole, all of a sudden, this girl is just like all about family because she finds out they're cousins. Meanwhile, this guy just like killed all her friends, and then suddenly she's just on his side. Like, you just don't buy it. It's very, very cheesy. Comes across as just very cheesy, and like I do have a problem with that. It kind of annoys me. It just doesn't make too much sense that this girl would suddenly just be like down for whatever. And yeah, that's about all I have to say. And then, you know, at the end you get like a small cameo from Marilyn Burns. She is playing the part of the grandmother who has died. She's writing a letter, and I think it's pretty cool to see her again. Unfortunately, she died like the year after this movie was released, but I think it's cool that she came back for this movie, and also Next Generation. Like, these movies have followed her for quite some time, for her whole life, literally. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this one. Like I said, it's not terrible. It's not the best though either. It's really just like a kind of little bit above average film to me. Like, I don't think it's nearly as bad as some people make it out to be. Like, I do defend this one. Like, I don't think it's horrible at all. It's just another slasher movie when you really think about it. It's just another chainsaw movie. The only problems are with like the timeline and just like the cheesy plot to it, really. So for this one, I give it a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys for joining me on day number 8, and I will hopefully see you for day number 9.